Okay, so how to create a truth table. We have this example here, P or Q or R. The little V's mean or. Notice that P or Q are in parentheses. That means that that's the first part of my statement. The first step you want to do is draw your table that includes the variables. I've done that here. I have my table. Notice that my example has three variables. That's P, which is here, Q, which is here, and an R. Each different variable gets its own column, and I've done that here too. The second thing, number 2, notice that my example here, P or Q or R, has a statement in a parentheses, which is that first part, P or Q. Any part of your statement that has parentheses, you want to give its own column. So here I created another column for P or Q. And the last column that you want to have is one that actually has your example, the example that you're working with. So to fill this out, you have to think about the different variables, and you want to think about how they interact with each other. We know that P could be true, and we know that if P could be true, there's a possibility that Q could be true, and so can R. So one of those possibilities is when all three of them are true. You want to do that for all the multiple choices that you have, all the different choices or combinations that you'll have for this. So the second one could be P could still be true, Q could be true as well, but R could be false. So I go back and I just want to fill those information for those three variables. Again, P can be true, Q in this case can be false, and my R again can be true. Notice that these three values, truth values, are all different. So you have true, 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 false, true, false, true. Continuing with this pattern, I want to say that P can be also true, Q could still be false, and then my R can be false. Now I have to do it where P is false. P is false, Q can be true, R can be true. Or you could have P be false again, Q be true, and R be false. Finally, you have false, false, true, false, false, false. Okay, so I filled out for the three different variables. I have all my P's, all my possibilities, I have all my Q's, and I have all my R's. Now I want to look at that first part of my expression. So you have the P or Q. Well, we know that P or Q is true for every single time that either one of these variables is true. So if P is true, then the whole thing is true. If Q is true, then the whole thing is true. If P and Q are true, if both of them are true, then the whole thing is true. The only time that this expression here is false, when P is false and where Q is false. So I am concerned with P and Q. I look at those columns here, P and Q. My first one, it says my P is true, my Q is true, so this expression here is true. My second one, same thing, P and Q is true, so both of them are true. My third case, you have P is true, Q is false. Because one of them is true, the whole thing is true. The next one is true, false. Again, the whole thing is true. Now I have one false for P and one Q that's true. Because one of them is true, both of them have to be true. I look again at the second, the next line, and I have F and T for true, so I have a false and true. Because I have one true, the whole thing is true. Now these are the only two cases where this expression P or Q is going to be false. When you have false and false, your expression is false. The next one is also false and false. Okay, so I filled out 4 out of 5 of my columns. The next step that I want to do is look at this column, the P or Q, and and I want to see R. So I'm concerned with these two. I'm concerned with the column of R and the column of P or Q. So what I have here is either P or Q is true or R is true, or both of them are true. And that could be a little confusing, but really what you're thinking about is this column can be true, or this column can be true, or both of them can be true. If that's the case, then this expression here would be true. So I look at these two columns, I have true, true, so therefore this one has to be true. False, true, because one of them is true. This one has to be true. True, true, same idea as before. False, true, one of them is true, so this has to be true. True and true, this is true again. False and true, also true. And then you have true and false, also true. And finally, the only case where this expression is false is when both this column here and the column of the R is false, which would be this last case here. That's how you fill out a truth table.